Okay, so we're talking about morality. That's kind of what this chapter is about. What is, basically, our morality is what?
Or love for one another.
What are three relationships? So morality is about having right relationships. So what are the three relationships that morality, having the right relationship with what three relationships? God. Let's expand that.
People.
Who's your family?
Neighbors.
The boys.
Neighbors.
Everyone.
Everyone is. Okay? Others. Who's that leave? Us. Because we said the two greatest commandments are what?
Love yourself. Love God over anything else.
Okay? Love God above all other things.
And then
That's the greatest. With your what? How's that commandment say? How do you say it?
You should have no form of prayer.
How do you say this commandment?
oh.
I am wondering.
I believe in one God.
So your whole heart, soul, mind, and some translations say strength. So it's just a way of saying what? Love everything. With everything you have, we should be loving God. What's the second one? Second greatest?
Love others.
Okay? Love others. So basically, love your neighbor as, again, as you love yourself. So that's why this third one is important. Because if you don't love yourself, what? You can't love your neighbor. And why should we love ourselves?
Because we're beautiful human beings.
Because God made us. Okay? God made us, and God doesn't make junk.
There's a verse for everything.
So it's key to having the right morality is I need to make sure that these relationships are right. And if something's not right in one of those relationships, I can never have the right morality.
I love him.
And remember, what did we say was another word here for this?
Adoption.
What's synonymous with this? So in the Bible, you might not see love, you might see this word instead.
Commandment. Holiness.
Didn't we talk about this last time?
Yeah, we did. Charity.
Charity. So these words mean the same. Lucas. Did this person that asked me earlier,
Me.
was it you?
Yes. It was mine.
Did you go?
No.
You need to go?
Yeah.
I don't know. Well, you didn't respond to it. That's why.
Now, the other thing we kind of got sidetracked last time is we were talking about laws or rules. Why do we have these? Because what I was hearing at the end there is I should be able to wear whatever I want to. Right? It's the other person's problem. If they got a problem, that's their problem. I should be able to wear whatever I want to. So if that's my mentality, I've got some wrong morality going on. Right?
Mr. Hill, I have to go to the office at 9:30. It's almost 9:30.
Are you leaving?
No.
So this is our challenge. See, that statement there is a statement that is selfish, which goes against these relationships. When we say we need to love ourselves, that doesn't mean we put ourselves what? First, no. This is the order in terms of ranking. Okay? God's first, others are second, I'm third. But in each case, I need to do what in each case? Okay? I need to do this in each case. I've got to love God, I've got to love others, and I've got to love myself. So that's the order. See, but the world tells you to do what? Okay, the world tells you to go up here like this.
Lucas, you have to go upstairs.
That's what the world tells you to do. So that's our challenge, because we can either follow the world or our flesh, because your flesh is always saying what?
You're better than everyone.
I should be first. It's all about me. I want to please me. So, and see, this is the other lie that we believe, that we think if we can do whatever we want, whenever we want, we think that that is true, is really freedom.
No.
We think that that's freedom. And the opposite is really true. So if I live by whatever I feel like doing, I'm really a what?
Jerk.
I'm a slave. A slave means you're possessed by someone. In this case, I'm possessed by
Yourself.
my flesh. That part of me, okay? So if I go through life and that's all my choices are all about me all the time, I'm a slave to that. And of course, God gives us the freedom to do that. We get the freedom. Everybody has the freedom to do that. He gives us free choice to do that. But the choice we're making also has eternal consequences. We have to know that everybody has a choice. God gives us a choice. But with every choice, what?
With great power comes great responsibility.
What happens with every choice?
There's a con.
Friends.
There's a consequence. Some of them are what? Good. And some of them are bad.
Help.
Every choice you make. Today, in the first reading, comes from the Acts of the Apostles. We have the first martyr. Who was the first martyr?
Stephen.
Stephen. Stephen made a choice. The choice he made was to tell the Jewish leaders that they were wrong in crucifying Jesus. And then God gave him a vision of heaven opening, and God the Father's up there and Jesus is at his right hand. And he told all the Jewish leaders this, and they did what?
Stoned him.
They stoned him. They got all upset and stoned him. So he had a positive and a negative consequence from that choice. What was the positive consequence? He gets to go to heaven. The negative consequence was what?
He died.
He died. He got stoned. He didn't die an easy death.
He died for his faith.
People throw rocks at you till you die. That's what stoned.
Yeah.
Don't they have that much rock?
They just pick him up.
They keep picking them up. You get a big enough crowd, No, none of us will face that. But
Hopefully.
we could also teach something through, and the stoning won't be an actual literal stoning, it'll be a what? Many of us, some people have been stoned, just not literally with stones. I see stoning happening all the time here at St. Joe's.
Oh, being slapped?
No!
When you run somebody down because they're sticking up for somebody, you're throwing a stone. Okay? You can verbally stone somebody. When you make somebody feel bad, you're doing that. Okay? Because we're not following the two greatest commandments. We're not following this. So it's easy to learn about all this and understand, yep, Jesus, the God should be number one, others should be number two, I'm number three. It's easy to put those in order. But it's a lot harder to what? To actually live it out. But when we live it out, we will have right morality, and what will happen? We'll have freedom, and the rest of the world will see something different than they're used to seeing. Shortly after this reading from Stephen being martyred, and the people were piling their coats, where were they piling their coats?
On the body?
So there was a guy kind of keeping track of their coats so they could stone Stephen. You know who the guy was? Well, at that time his name was Saul. Shortly after this, Saul has a conversion. That means he did what? His whole heart changed from persecuting to preaching to the same people he was persecuting. Now, I believe that Stephen had a lot to do with Paul's conversion, not just the thing that happened to Paul that we'll read about later, where he's going on the road to Damascus and what happened to him. Okay? Flashing light knocks him off the donkey. A voice from heaven says, "Why are you persecuting me?" I believe that when that voice from heaven, probably what flashed before his eyes was him standing and watching them. I can't believe somebody, because all of us have a natural moral law in us. God put it in everybody, whether you know God or not. So that means natural moral law means people know from when they're young, they know the difference between what?
Good and bad?
What's good and what's bad. Now some of us, okay, we take that and we form it and make it better, and we try to go in good. And some people ignore it. But people know. So if I'm sitting here watching a person get stoned, that should make me, because of the natural moral law, I'm going to feel what? I'm going to feel bad inside. The people that are actually stoning it, they basically have put that away because they've let another emotion take over. What's the emotion that took over? Anger.
Or jealous.
You know, the riots you've been watching on the news or maybe reading about. A lot of those people, if they weren't in the midst of this crowd, they would never do some of that stuff. But that's what happens in this crowd mentality. Their emotions come up, and then they're a slave to what? Their flesh. Okay? They're really wanting freedom, but they're a slave to themselves when we turn to violence for that. Okay? So rules are really meant to bring us what? Freedom. That's what rules are supposed to bring. See, and in our minds that doesn't make sense. We think rules are what? They're keeping us in. They're taking away our freedom. But rules are really meant to bring our freedom. And I believe, there are dumb rules, There are rules that I think are dumb.
Like what?
I got to go to a faculty meeting every Wednesday.
It's not fair.
Half the meetings I go to, these are dumb meetings. They're a waste of time.
Hey, you're back.
Okay? I got to pay taxes.
Oh.
Some of the taxes I have to pay, I think, oh, these are dumb taxes. I shouldn't be paying these. There were rules when I was growing up that I thought were dumb rules. My parents wouldn't let me do this or that. I think those are dumb rules. My children, they thought a lot of rules that I had, these are dumb rules, Dad. You know what I always told them? I always asked them this question, can you trust me? Trust me? That means, do you believe that your dad has the best he wants for you? I'm not just, and your teachers, can you trust that we want what's best? We're not just up there planning, oh, let's see if we can come up with something that's really going to make them miserable. We want to let's make them miserable today. Let's come up with something really.
Think sheets for everyone.
Okay? Sometimes that's how we approach God. We think that he's up there. He's thinking, well, God's got some kind of thing just to prevent me from having any fun. That's what kept me from really giving my heart to the Lord early on. Because I thought, well, if I really gave my heart to the Lord, I'm not going to have any more fun. I believe that lie. Okay? And some of us might believe that lie. See, but this is where we say, God is telling us, can you trust me? Because these dumb rules, if we can follow the dumb rules we think that are dumb, then when God really challenges with something very challenging, we've already had all this practice following God in the dumb rules. So every time you tuck in your shirt and you think that's dumb, every time you follow one of the school policies that you think is dumb, you are actually practicing for when you're going to face something really difficult. Something that's really unfair. Because are you going to face something unfair in your life? Yeah. The greatest unfairness we have is right up here. God asked his son to go through this. Nobody in here is probably going to be asked to have to do this. But see, Jesus had practice too. All his whole life he practiced what? Doing what God wanted. So that's our challenge. Okay? So here's our assignment. Pages, finish the chapter. The chapter 13 review is on page, now this is kind of a different one. If you look to page 239, it's different. They're asking you to look at the Beatitudes.
That's it.
James, what have you done? James Day.
What's the purpose of the Beatitudes? Again, it's to bring us freedom that Jesus given. They're actually rules. The church has another thing in the rules they talk in here called the precepts of the church. What are the precepts of the church?
What's the number again?
I don't know how to reword this to make it. Let's tell you what. Let's just do the true false part, and we'll talk about. Be ready to talk about part B. You don't have to do part B. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So all you have to do is 1 through 5.
Easy.
And only 2 of them are false. That means only 2 of them you have to what?
Rewrite.
To make true. You have to rewrite 2 of them. You just got to figure out which 2 of them are false.
What page is it? Like 236.
What page is it? Who wrote it down?
239.
239.
So write it down in your planner.
Freddie, it's 239. Freddie.